So a couple weeks ago, I finally built my very first PC, and oh boy do I have some stories to share. Much to my surprise, it actually did turn on at the end, but even that was an effort, as just about everything I was worried could go wrong, did go wrong. However, here I sit with a PC that is somehow in working order. So today, I'd like to impart my newly found wisdom, if only so you don't make the same mistakes I did. So let's say we discuss a couple things I learned from my first PC build. Number 1, confidence is key. So here's the big one. Knowing I'm about to go full The Secret, manifest your reality with positive thoughts on you here, I think the main reason things went wrong with my first PC build was because I was worried things were going to go wrong. Therefore, I was a little too nervous, a little too fragile, a little too shaky. Basically, the whole time, all I could think about was not stuffing it up. This meant, of course, I obviously did. So instead, go into your build with the utmost confidence you're going to crush it, even if you have to fake it for the first hour or so. Hesitation and second thoughts can only lead to trouble, so be sure to show that PC who's boss. Number 2, cable management isn't just for aesthetics. So I used to peer down at Jono from the highest of horses, snickering at his horrific cable management. Seriously, the backside of the PCs he builds looks like the remains of a bomb site. Therefore, I waltzed into my first PC build, vowing to never do the same. I would manage my cable so nicely, with all the zip ties and Velcro boys keeping everything looking all sleek. But that didn't happen. I became the very thing I hated most. And it didn't just hurt everyone's eyeballs either. Lazy cable management actually made the entire build so much more tedious. Seriously, don't think you can skimp on managing cables. It's not a step in the build as much as it is something that should be constantly considered throughout. Because you only need a few to begin overlapping, getting in each other's space before things become an absolute nightmare for you. Cables that should be easily routed suddenly become like slide puzzles for me, as I had to loop 6 other cables first before getting to the one I needed. So make sure to stay on top of them at every step of the way. Number 3, unless things are literally snapping off, you can almost always fix it. So, if you have yet to check out the video of my first PC build, well, what are you doing here for, you silly salamander? Watch that one first. Anyway, the big boo-boo I made is that I bent the CPU pins, as it wasn't seated correctly, meaning the whole thing got ultra smushed come time for me to screw on the water block. But for as devastated as I was in the moment when my PC didn't turn on, trying to hold back tears as I feared I'd done the equivalent of throwing away hundreds of dollars into the bin, we, big thanks to our resident pro builder Nick, were still able to get the PC back up and running. Which leads me to my point that no matter how dire the obstacles you face seem when attempting your first build, more often than not, it can be fixed. Whether something just needs to be slightly adjusted or reapplied or placed with a bit more or less force, just about anything can be tinkered with to get it back in working condition. Unless you try to run your graphics card underwater or something because it's dirty. Number 4, I rushed into collating parts. So the catalyst for me beginning to collect parts was that one day I just happened to spot a motherboard on sale for a really good price, and I impulse bought it, deciding then and there that I would begin building a PC so that the buyer's remorse wouldn't set in. But the mistake I'd made here is that I started my build with the part of the PC I knew the least about, meaning when it came time to install it, I didn't realize the USB-C header that was featured on my case couldn't actually be supported by the motherboard. So now I've got an unusable header port and a lifeless cable just dangling in my case, and I'll have to fork out the extra cash for an adapter if I want to get that working. I didn't even realize the motherboard I'd bought was an M80X. Now the build ended up working the same as I was popping it into a mid-tower case, but it could have been a nightmare had the situation been reversed. So be sure to do your research first using tools such as PCPartPicker.com to triple check that all your PC parts are compatible and are buddies before they all arrive. So that was my list of things that I got wrong during my first PC build, so you don't have to. If you enjoyed the video today, be sure to leave us a like and comment down below any stupid mistakes you've made during your first PC build, if only to make myself feel better. Also, while you're still here, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell to be notified each and every time we upload. Before you click away though, be sure to check out either of these 2 Thermaltake videos that are floating above me somewhere like 2 very powerful shoulder pads, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.